The rooms were filling with the freezing wind from outside the dome. Had to escape or be entombed, slowly dying to the ice and cold.
What's happening?
We're leaving. The charges were set off by the same spasm that killed Croats. I realized Fishik was now beginning to understand the resources and capabilities of the people we worked against. Their abominable crime at Processional 212 had demonstrated the scale of their malice. But he hadn't seen that firsthand. Arbeits squads moved into the dwelling and secured it while local Medicaid servitors patched our wounds. We returned to the gun cutter, taking Beckin with us, but little new information. Save that the bonded merchant guild of Synesius may be worth questioning, and that the Pontius was a name with fatal consequences.
It's a common enough name in this subsector. I've turned up over 500,000 citizens with that forename. Another 200,000 with it as a middle name, plus another 40 or 50,000 spelling variants.
What about the definite article?
I have over 9,000 marks with that connection.
Pontius Glor.
Not on my lists.
Because he's dead?
Because he's dead. But it sort of makes sense.
Pontius Glor, the seventh son of Oberon Glor, a wastrel dilettante who fell into heresy, becoming an abominable disciple of chaos. For 15 long years he wrought discord and evil before being slain by the great Absalom Angevin. Gudrun was the ancestral home of the Glors. He may be dead, but the name and the connection were too obvious to ignore. Midas, find us passage to Gudrun.
That girl, Beckin, is waiting in your room.
The Arbeits say they will charge me with murder and conspiracy.
Sit down. I can make sure the charges are dropped. I have that authority.
Why would you do that? Even if you clear me, I can't carry on here. I'll be marked as trouble. I'll have to move on again.
You're not from Hubris?
No. I was born on Bonaventure. Got here by way of this and that. I've travelled a lot. Never stayed put for very long.
Because things get difficult.
That's right. I'd stuck it out here longer than anywhere. Now that's all screwed up.
Stand up.
Make your mind up.
I want to ask you some questions about the men who employed you at Thorview 12011. If you answer helpfully, I can cut you a deal.
What sort of deal?
I can take you to Gudrun, or I can offer you employment if you're interested.
Employment? Even big bad Inquisitors have needs, huh? That's fine.
You misunderstand. The services I have in mind will be new to you. Not the sort of work you're accustomed to.
You're an odd one, all right. Are all Inquisitors like you?
No. Once Fishig returned Eichlon's possessions to us from the custodians, Loink and I prepared to conduct an auto seance. I did not expect to glean much from the process, but it was one of the first techniques I'd learned as an Inquisitor. And it was possible that this close inspection of the psychic residues would reveal something to us.
Ready to begin whenever you are, Master.
I can feel the aftertaste of his death. Do not touch it. This has a thick, gelatinous aura. Loink, amplify me. Day Sumner. I hear Day Sumner as a barely audible whisper. Of dormant. Nothing but malice.
There was danger, vile danger, from the casket.
I felt it.
But the whole seance was unseemly, Master. as if distracted and spoiled by some factor.
I can explain. The girl we have aboard is an untouchable.
Keep her away from me.
Just prepping for takeoff. We'll be ready shortly.
And so we left the freezing world of Hubris behind, taking Elizabeth and Fishik with us. Betancourt piloted the gun cutter up out of the atmosphere to the Essene awaiting above us in orbit. This vast bulk clipper was a trader, running cargoes of fine wine from Hesperus to Hubris. Tobias Maxilla, the ship's captain, had been recruited by Betancourt to get us to Gudrun in 2 weeks.
Tobias Maxilla, at your service.
You run this route regularly?
For the past few decades, it's seasonal. Sameta, Hesperus, Tracian, Hubris, Gudrun, sometimes to Messina too. When Dormant finishes on Hubris, there'll be a lot more work there.
So you know these routes well?
Yes, Chastener, I know them well.
I don't think we need to start interrogating Master Maxilla yet, Fishik.
It's a beautiful ship, Maxilla. Classic as old pattern, unless I'm mistaken.
You are, of course, correct, Captain Betancourt. From the shipyards of Tancred, no less. Wait till you see the staterooms. I have quite the collection of beautiful artifacts. Even some portraits from the Sameta school.
I must tell Amos, our savant. I'm sure he will be fascinated.
I will happily give him a tour once we are underway. One cannot pass up the opportunity of cultivated conversation. My entire crew is servitors, which makes them more reliable than pure flesh, but somewhat less loquacious.
Interesting. You don't trust humans?
Inquisitor! It is not a case of trust, simply one of dependability. The Imperium does not forgive mistakes.
The Essene left Hubris later that day, executed the translation to the Imperium effortlessly, and made best speed for Gudrun. Maxilla provided quarters for us all in his state apartments. We spent most of our time on the cutter, working. the 5th day, my sleep patterns had begun to return to normal. I cloned stalked my dreams once more, leaving the after-image of his grinning face each time I woke. At least I assumed it was his face. We translated back into real space and entered the Gudrun system on the morning of the 8th day. Here, at the outreach of the system, we would pay our last respects to Loris Vippen. She had joined me in the first place to visit the stars, and that's where we would leave her.
Who was she?
A friend. A comrade.
Is this how she wanted to go?
I don't think she wanted to go at all. Beckwin, there is something I have to tell you. I had been avoiding this conversation. She had no idea that she was an untouchable, a blank. Like all untouchables, her negative presence in the warp rendered her immune to psychic influence, which in turn made her a potent anti-psycho weapon. It also meant that she exuded an air of unpleasantness which rose to fear and revulsion in the psychically attuned. Her whole life had been shaped by this, and she had no idea. She did not take the news well. She knew now that her friendless, loveless existence was due to the fact that she was abnormal, and not surprisingly had little interest in the details of the job that I had in mind for her. In truth, I was relieved when Maxilla called me to the bridge.
Inquisitor?
Is there a problem?
I have performed legal maneuvers and entered the trade lane approach. All relevant data is in order and my tariffs are paid. But I've just been informed that we are to be boarded and inspected.
This is unusual?
It's been 10 years since anyone even suggested such a thing of my ship. I told you there was a founding festival underway. You can see considerable portions of Battlefleet Scarers on station. I think the military is being over-careful of its interests here just now. An inspection launch is on its way. I feel it would facilitate matters if they were met by a ship's master and an Imperial Inquisitor.
I'll agree to be present for the sake of order, provided you can assure me you have nothing to hide.
Inquisitor Eisenhorn,
Save your indignation for the inspection, Maxilla. Your assurance is all I require. If I assist you only to find you have some dirty secret or illicit cargo, you will have a great deal more to worry about than the Imperial Navy.
I have nothing to hide. I fancied you when I had become, if not friends, then decent acquaintances, at least this voyage. I have shown you hospitality, and freely given information into your confidence. I am hurt that you still suspect me.
Suspicion is my business, Maxilla. If I have wronged you, my apologies.
Nothing to hide.
Tobias Maxilla?
I am Maxilla.
You have been notified that an inspection of your vessel is due. Furnish me with crew lists and cargo manifests. Your full cooperation is expected.
You haven't yet identified yourself.
We're naval security.
You could be anybody. I am Gregor Eisenhorn, Imperial Inquisitor. We will do this correctly, or not at all.
You're Eisenhorn? You're trapped. Make it easy on yourself.
Having escaped from the boarding party, I found myself underneath the airlock. Stealth. Get back to Maxilla.
Spread out. Don't let him escape.
Had to be disabled.
Alpha 1, come in. What's going on?
Alpha 1 to command. All clear.
Come out, Eisenhorn. There's nowhere to run.
Hey, you! Stop!
Alpha 1, come in. What's going on? Alpha 2, come in. What's your status?
Alpha 2 to command. No sighting.
Stay alert. He's here somewhere.
Found you, scout.
There was no way.
So my bare facts are revealed to you after all, Inquisitor.
What can I do to help you, Tobias?
I have summoned servitors to assist me. I'll be back on my feet soon enough.
I need access